Hello, welcome to the next installment in our series going through this book, Frameworks Volume 2, God by Paul Blackham. For those who have been joining in each day, these videos come out. My apologies that it's been a little while since our last one. Been trying to catch up with other bits and bobs, but hopefully we'll get back to producing a few of these each week. We're on day 20 on the faithfulness of God. Day 20, the faithfulness of God. And if you've been following, then you'll remember that we've been thinking about God's relationship with time. How does the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit relate with time? These succession of moments, a before, a now, and an after. And we've seen how in the Bible's presentation of the life of this divine Trinity, God is not timeless and somehow outside of time and human history, sitting above and looking down upon it, but God is timefull. He is right there with us in these succession of moments. And in day 19, we thought about this phrase, how God is under no threat from time. He's under no threat from the passage of successive moments. Unlike us, frantically moving from one moment to the next, clinging on to the things that we have, longing for things that we've lost, hoping for stuff that we don't know whether we'll get in the future. Time is against us. Not so for God. In his time fullness, he is one who is in harmony with time, and time works for him rather than against him. And just as God himself, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, is under no threat from time, neither is his relationship with us under any threat. Time does not threaten his relationship with us. Why? Because he is faithful. Because he is a solid rock on which we can plant ourselves in a world which is so characterized by decaying change, by death, the passage of time breaking things down. Not so our relationship with the Lord Almighty. In his time fullness, he is faithful, and so we can trust him always to love us, always to be concerned for us, always to stay true to his promises. The passage of time will not lessen his love and his care for us. And that might be hard for us to hold on to, because our experience of relationships and of other people is that they're so unreliable. People do not stay true to their word. They do not do actions that back up the things that they say. They might mean it, they might have the best intentions, and yet the passage of time means that people are often not who they say they are. They don't always do the things that they say they will do over the passage of time. Think about marriages. That great promise, I will love you forever. Right in this moment, we feel so passionately love. I want to spend the rest of my life with you, and yet, mere months and years later, feelings have changed, circumstances have shifted, aren't even able to stick together anymore. Partnerships in work break up. There's betrayal of friendships. We're let down again and again by those around us over the passage of time. And it's not just people, it's the whole world, it's the nations that fall. There's this well-known poem from Shelley, which I'm going to read for us. I met a traveller from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things. The hand that mocked them, and the hearts that fed, and on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair, and yet nothing is there. this statue itself half sunk into the ground. Even these mighty nations, which once ruled and had dominion over many peoples and over thousands of miles of land, are no more, because they are they're not firm. They're not built on a firm foundation. They cannot ultimately be trusted to remain. Not so the Lord. The time, the passage of moments and events of history cannot change the faithfulness of God. To the point where, even in the incarnation, when the Son it takes on something which he never was before, he became human in a way that he never was before. On the cross, when the Lord dies a death that he has never died before, and yet he remains utterly faithful, true to himself, who he is. He is utterly and completely faithful. Nothing in all of human history can change the reality of God's faithfulness to his promises of who he is and who he has declared himself to be. Very briefly, Proverbs 16:33 seems to imply that even the teeniest, seemingly random events in human experience are under the sovereign rule and control of God. You see, God is not outside of time. He doesn't sit looking down on human history, and yet he is sovereignly in control, even in time, in his time fullness. He is sovereignly in control of all things in creation. Nothing outside of him can thwart him or stop him from doing and being who he wants to be. And yet he himself internally will remain utterly faithful and true as well. And so between those two things, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit is always going to be who he says he is. And he will always hold true to the promises that he makes. And so no matter what else happens, no matter how long the passage of time, no matter what events transpire, the Lord will be faithful to who he is, the faithfulness of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.